conditions that led us into this moment have not changed.
And are those the type of conditions which could lead to escalation then? In one sense, when you talk about countries appealing to their bases, it sounds like they could actually keep a lid on things, but equally, I wonder if it could work the other way.
Well, right now here in Washington, the base for Trump is mixed in terms of not really wanting to see war politically, but the core team around him is very much in favor of military action. All of his top advisors, the Vice President, Secretary of State, Defense, National Security Advisor, they all supported bombing Iran on Thursday night. And the same goes for the IRGC, which came out with a statement that it's willing to shoot down aircraft again. So both sides have not pulled back in any way that really should give comfort to people that Thursday night was nothing more than a blip of calm in what could potentially be another military engagement.
Okay, then. So we're not out of the woods yet, basically, are there? Also because there are a lot of...
No, we're really not.
Yeah, there are a lot of other actors involved. You know, Russia involved itself today saying, hey, we'll help out, we'll counter these sanctions, and then it ends up becoming, I don't like using the phrase proxy war, but, you know, supporters are as much at war as the actual primary players.
Yeah, I mean, the timing is coincidental, but the statement that Secretary Pompeo created or had today with the Saudis and the Emiratis feeds to this idea that you're describing, which is that different sides are starting to align themselves. And one could also read between the lines that the new sanctions today are a bit of a dare to the Europeans and the Russians, potentially, and the Chinese, to not engage Iran. And it looked like China may be engaged in some purchases. Europe is clearly trying to find a channel, because on Thursday this week, Iran has said that it would begin to increase its nuclear enrichment, nuclear uranium enrichment. And so we're looking at more high stakes threats and dares, and frankly, this situation, the sanctions today, feed right into that narrative that sides are beginning to coalesce one against the other, which of course only leads to a potential for confrontation.
Yeah, what more, you mentioned the Europeans, what more could the Europeans do? They are the ones who have stayed in the JCPOA, with the United States pulling out, the Iranians changing. I mean, they seem to be the only ones committed to it, and yet they would need to take some actual concrete action to save it.
Right. So for those of us who advocated for the JCPOA, I was in the Obama administration at the time. Part of the argument was that it's a multilateral agreement, and that the intent was that it would create so many layers of structure to it that it would be very hard to break. But the Trump administration's decision to engage in sanctions on Iran and on countries who do business with Iran have really put that to the test. If the Europeans decide that they're going to engage in economic transactions with Iran, they're putting themselves in the sanctions gun sights of the United States, and they don't want to be there. So their capacity to fix this, so to speak, or have Iran get some breathing room is very limited. They do, however, need to talk to the president about where he's taking this policy, because the Iranians, if they've shown anything in the last week and a half, is that they're not going to just knuckle under and capitulate. In fact, they're going to get more aggressive, and that could lead us to where President Trump himself said on Thursday night he didn't want to go. That's the real risk here.
Okay, Joel Rubin, great talking to you. Thank you for your time today.